It's the home movie
It's
show.
the home movie show again. I'm so sick of us saying that stuff. If we have it our way, you'll see on the DVD that there will or will not be people other than us talking on it. So look for those tracks if you're getting sick of hearing my voice,
or mine.
which I'm always sick of. Though I can't shut up.
You are paid to speak into a microphone.
Well, I won't say paid.
Some of us are amateurs doing this just about once every 8 months.
Right.
Some of us...
Me, Well, I make over, I've said this before in front of large crowds.
Yes.
I make over $100 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally hundreds of dollars.
Literally.
Yeah.
$101.
Yeah. No, it's not a good living, folks. It is
No,
not.
you know what? It's not. It really isn't.
No, it's not.
You have to
you can
really want to do
put
it.
together like a good run if you have like 2 shows on the air at the same time and you're killing yourself.
Yeah, and you're not sleeping.
Yes. And my advice to you is if you get into that position, save your money.
Yeah.
Because that means you're about to get canceled.
Yeah, and start being nice to someone because your relationships will probably go down the toilet if you're working on 2 shows at once.
That's right. And yet you're going to need that second income.
Yeah.
Really be nice.
To pay the divorce fees.
No, you're going to need to pay the rent. Because you
right.
probably, if I know you, and I'm talking to you, the audience, as soon as you got that second show, you moved to New York, you got a loft, you probably pay about $4,000 a month, thinking it's going to last forever.
Sure.
Let me tell you.
I don't.
It's not.
Oh, no.
No, you're going to, all of a sudden, your income is going to go from, low 6 figures to what you made when you first got out of college.
Right.
Your Social Security income statement that tracks what you make over the years is going to look hilariously peakish.
Right.
As you trend downward.
Here's what else will happen. Here's a great thing that'll happen. If you buy one thing, your bank will close down your account because they think that someone's stolen your card. Like if you do sell a show and then like, hey, I think I have to get a new computer.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That did not fit your spending profile?
It did not fit my spending profile. They left me a message saying, hey, some strange activity on your credit card. They didn't even tell me what it was.
Please call us Citibank.
Please call us. And instead of waiting for me to call them back to confirm anything,
we're closing you.
I had like an embarrassing encounter where I tried to buy something with my ATM debit card, and the lady was like, this has been denied several times.
They're telling me I am supposed to take your card?
Yeah.
Glad they don't.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Or cut your card like they did in the movies, like in the early 80 movies.
Right. They did. I know. They used to do that, apparently, in real life, maybe? Or just was it just in movies?
That's the kind of thing that would get you killed, I think.
You would think.
Whatever.
Yeah.
There's time. We'll talk more about murder later.
Yeah. Anyway, it's not a good living.
I have to be honest. I have no idea what I'm watching. All I know is that it's home movies because I recognize the characters.
All right. I saw Soccer Ball.
Okay. That's right. That means it's home movies.
Yeah. Oh, the kids were making movies.
Yeah. So that's it. That's all we got.
Brendon, Jason, Melissa.
This should be a game for you and me to try to figure out
which episode. That'll be a good game for us. Boring to listen to.
I know.
And disappointing, probably, that we...
Yeah. Oh, you know what's going to be cool? Well, if anyone's bought the DVD, you'll see that there's a CD of music that's stuck in there.
If you're listening to this and you didn't get a CD...
Then take your DVD
Go back to Virgin because you got screwed.
Yeah.
Oh, bartending school, I remember.
Finally, yes.
A natural idea for McGurk to want to go to bartending school.
Absolutely.
Raise your hand if you've been to bartending school.
Teach me.
You have, yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say. Because you know what actually is very rarely one and the same? People who've been to bartending school and people who have bartended. Very rarely are they one and the same.
But you are.
In my case, but it's almost coincidental.
But, okay, so...
I went to bartending school. It had nothing to do with the fact that I later got a job as a bartender. Sorry, bartending school.
How long were you in bartending school for?
I think they figure out stuff to tell you for about a week. I could be wrong.
It's not really a school. No. It's not like Hogwarts or anything.
It's not like Hogwarts.
A 4-year school.
In other ways, it is like Hogwarts.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of magic.
Really?
You do.
Well, it feels like magic if you're doing it right.
It's nice to have a dog in the commentary.
Yeah, he kind of hates it, but he's being very good.
He hates it because we've sucked all the oxygen out of this room.
Yeah, I hate us for the same reason.
Yeah.
We're going to learn that later on.
Is that my voice?
Yes,
that guy?
You were the teacher.
At some point, I think I, as character, just simply did not even try to disguise my voice.
No, but that's all right.
Sure, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the easiest rules of cartoons is if there's a close-up shot of a character and his mouth is moving and the sound is coming from his mouth, you simply believe that that's happening.
Yeah, it's a weird human tick that you can exploit if you do animation, literally, or puppeteering. If you take just a wadded up piece of paper and move its mouth, at the same time as you're talking, and if people can just focus on the piece of paper,
people will suspend enough disbelief to believe that whatever that
they can sort of be charmed by
we'll follow your story because there's a thing I can look at. Yeah,
it's embarrassing when you're a full-grown man and you go to there's somebody with a puppet at a fair or something, and they work in the puppet, and you look at the puppet's face, even though you know that there's a puppeteer working that thing. You make eye contact with an inanimate object.
I'm looking at your face.
and
now.
Somebody's working my head from the other side of the chair.
Yeah. No, but I am looking at people's face when they move their mouth. That's how I learned how to look at cartoons.
Yeah.
That's how it starts when you're a baby.
That's right. Cartoons.
Yeah.
Most primal, most fundamental.
No, here's a question. Did you see yourself working in animation? Like, that was your ideal job when you were kind of growing up and everything?
Yes. I had I'll say this. I had a very lazy attitude about the things that I liked, which were writing, music, and drawing.
Yeah,
and watching TV.
Sure.
And I did not commit to any of them, and it took me until I was in my 20s, and all of a sudden, I realized that animation combined those things, and that there was a way all of a sudden that I could follow and get to do those things, but I wouldn't have to be particularly good at any one of them. And that thought was in my head when I ran into Tom Snyder and lucked into the job on Dr. Katz, and that is something I think about every once in a while, because it was almost as if I needed to kind of finally visualize what I wanted to do before I could get lucky. If that makes sense, or if that doesn't, I hope that doesn't sound too spiritual or superstitious.
No. I think so. Woody Allen said it best. There's I'm paraphrasing something about luck.
You're really paraphrasing.
I mean,
that's
is that even paraphrasing anymore?
No, that's just the most paraphrasing you could do.
Yeah, he
still
said
be referencing.
Yeah. but he has some quote where he talks about, it comes up in a lot of his movies, but luck is everything, and he says talent. He said talent is luck. That's one thing I think he said from Manhattan. But I think about that all the time. Is like luck. In my case, very lucky to have lucked into a situation like home movies, where whether or not I had any talent or know-how, I had no choice but to try to develop it overnight, or try to put myself in a place where
I will say this, because I have just recently listened to your audition and to the earliest stuff we did together, and you did have talent.
Well,
you did. I was noticing the extent to which the voice that you often use for Brendon, you were experimenting with. You were kind of going in and out in some of the stand-up you did in your audition. And it was surprising to me, because I hadn't realized the extent to which we stole or you loaned that voice to the production. I thought that we'd sort of found that organically. But you actually had found it and were sort of playing around with it. You were doing a joke about dogs. Do you remember this?
I kind of remember
watching dogs. Watching the
Frisbees, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it was Brendon. I mean, it was the character very strongly at sort of, at least for moments at a time.
I do remember that kind of, yeah.
And it was interesting. It's sort of almost self-conscious, and I think you didn't like doing it for stand-up. I think you were kind of
stand-up's whatever for me. I don't even know.
Yeah. And I could hear that, and you were like, you weren't sure whether you wanted to do a character doing stand-up or whether you wanted to be yourself doing stand-up.
Right. Which is what I mean. Especially starting out in stand-up. Oh, you think about that, or at least I thought about that all the time.
Yeah.
Stop squeaking, pal.
That made you an ideal candidate for voiceover, because you could do a character's voice, but it could actually be fairly nuanced and full of so much of your own personality.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was doing too much of a character. I mean, listen to me talk right now. I sound exactly like the character. I mean,
no. I'd say no.
No.
You sometimes use that voice and it works, which is good because that character has a range. But it's not the It's not the the ideal.
No, you're right. I'll get a little bit higher pitch and a little bit more nasally. It's not exactly my speaking voice, right?
That's right.
Huh. But back to everything is luck, and once you get presented the lucky situation,
rum and milk, or
then you either do it or you don't. And in your case, you did it.
Yep.
In
your case too. I like and I like animation, and I should say I love animation, and
Right.
it's odd because sometimes I don't consume a lot of it. I don't watch religiously cartoons on TV.
I watch no cartoons.
Yeah, I'll see the animated features.
I love the process more than I love cartoons, in fact.
I will enjoy, like I watched The Simpsons, for example, when it first came out a lot religiously. You know, that was like appointment viewing, and I can get really excited about South Park and also movies. I like animated, some of them. But it's not. I'm embarrassed when I realize how much I'm not watching.
Space Jam.
Yes, haven't seen Space Jam.
Oh, you gotta see Space Jam, or that one with Brendan Fraser and
the Monkey Bone.
Yeah, Monkey Bone. No, I was going to say the other Looney Tunes one.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry, I completely derailed
the conversation. Right. I was just going to say I love animation, but it's surprising to me sometimes when I realize how little I watch it.
Honestly, I don't watch the Adult Swim for fear of home movies popping up and me having to watch.
You got to be careful now because well, now it's on Mondays and Wednesdays.
And it's that'll change 5 times by the time this DVD comes out.
I just dated this thing.
Yeah.
Or it'll come back around.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This has been dated several times. Our shows that we are working on will have been canceled.
Yeah.
And we'll be probably both living together somehow.
Yes. I also find it interesting that even though the 4th season is the last season we did, I am more familiar with the other 3 seasons because of this DVD process. I've watched seasons 1 through 3 more recently than I've seen.
You've watched them, really?
Yeah, well, with kind of like this.
Well, this is kind of watching them, right?
I guess this isn't watching at all.
Right.
I do remember them now that I'm watching them, but it's funny how much like the earliest stuff is now more fresh in my mind in some ways.
Right. Oh, of course. Well, I think you probably there was a lot more at stake on the earlier ones too.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like getting things right and kind of like
scarred for life by the memories. Yeah, that's true.
Totally.
Right. It's true. At this point,
I do remember the ones that I wrote. Again, like I wrote these ones, and I remember the words I chose here and there that ended up getting used.
Yeah.
And then the things that that were improvised, I remember too. Like the moments that were kind of fun, that got laughs in the room and stuff like that. I'll remember. Just because I'm me, and that's how I see things from where I am.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. My stomach
is like a third person in this commentary.
It's more
guest
interesting
commentary
than us.
Always funny when Melissa screams, by the way. I love that we wrote it. At least I feel like every few episodes we had an excuse to have her go, ah! And she would stamp away from the microphone. It was always funny to me. Always funny. Her little feet.
Ow! Jason, you're supposed to be pulling the thorns out.
Oh, I thought you pushed them through.
Great joke. Bill brought us script.
Bill brought us is one of those guys where I would have a script, and for every page he'd have 1,000 joke ideas.
He's a truly gifted.
But he just sees things in a way that he sees them differently than I do, where I envy him. Like he throws 1,000 jokes in, and they're good.
Yeah.
They're really smartly written, and he has trained himself, or naturally simply thinks in terms of jokes.
Yep.
And I think more in long-winded dialogue, I think in rhythm sometimes, but if that.
Yeah. I'm stunned to see how poor I am at that. You know that the back of the New Yorker now has a blank cartoon, but with no title, and you're supposed to send it in, and each week they have a contest to pick the funniest caption.
Sure.
I am stunned at how bad I am at that.
It's just simple joke writing
stuff.
Yes,
so you look at it, there's a funny picture of a fish and a guy, and all you have to do is come up with something mildly funny.
Yeah.
And each week I see it as this little defeat when I realize how bad I am at that particular kind of writing.
It's definitely a different way of thinking. I know I've written a good amount of jokes. I don't know that they're good jokes, but each time I do write a good joke, I pretty much feel like it's going to be my last one.
Yeah. If I do it, it'll be my first one.
I can do 1,000 episodes of a show where I tell a story that may lock up and be interesting to watch, and the whole thing accumulatively will be funny, and situations will be funny, and scenes will be funny, and moments within scenes are funny. And that's what I like to go for. the more moment thing where everyone's kind of on the same page and everything.
Character-driven, baby.
Yeah.
I feel like I can do that all day long, and
Right.
I have to say I have a very high opinion of my ability to write for characters
Right.
and dialogue that sounds natural and flows and has good rhythm. And I agree. I think at the end of the page, I sort of feel like, it's funny.
Right.
Yeah, I feel good about that. But boy, oh boy, it's not joke writing.
No, it's a very different thing. But I mean, when you can combine the two, then you have a pretty strong scene.
Yep.
That's it's funny.
I agree.
And then you see
that's
where-
why there are teams of writers on
Yeah.
all many shows.
Well, he doesn't have any pictures.
I'm great.
Yeah. On the opposite side, I don't think I really like too much of what I've ever done.
Well, you're wrong.
I think I'm lucky to have been part of a really sharp team of people.
You're right about that, and
Yeah.
wrong about the other thing. I think it's interesting that we're going we're forced to go back and look at this stuff as part of the DVD
Right.
process, and it is painful sometimes, and it is funny when you catch it on late at night on Adult Swim,
Right,
and
yeah.
you don't want to watch it, and yet at the same
I
time.
just have an aversion to yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I've had the opposite moment where you catch it by accident, or you're watching these, you're doing commentaries, and all of a sudden, I can see it with a kind of a fresh eye, and I feel like it's really there's something really good about it.
Yeah.
And I'm really I get really proud and sort of impressed with the work and with the kind of just I don't know, the show kind of as a whole. It's not necessarily any one particular moment,
Right.
but it's kind of the overall thing.
Again, you've watched it more than 5 times.
That's right. You're right. It's
You have no choice.
I have no choice. It's true. It's just the characters. They just exist now.
I don't know. Honestly, I feel like after each one is done, or anything that I've done that is not something I'm currently doing, feels like something that I no longer can take credit for because it already happened or something. Or it's the abandonment of art or comedy when you finish a project.
Yeah.
That one's done. That's you just don't think about it anymore.
Yeah.
So even when it's on Adult Swim, that's why I don't want to watch it. I'm like, it's already happened. It's done.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about it.
Yeah. I think that
Not that I'm not proud of one moment or two of the show.
I think that the it's nice too to just turn it over to somebody else to watch. I mean, it's sort of like the final piece of the thing is actually somebody should watch the show other than us.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think anyone should ever watch it.
I'm glad. Well, put it this way.
It's kind of like Brendon is in the show, where they make movies for nobody, but
For nobody.
But for the fact that the process is so fun and enlightening and great,
Or
and
at the
you
very least addictive.
honestly, if anything, all I did was I tallied the little moments and occasions that I learned something,
Yeah.
And that's what home movies was. And for me, just as a live person who likes to create things, whether or not they're good. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, it's like a compulsion.
I'm kind of like the fact that there is an audience, is incidental, I think. And that's a horrible way to think if you're in entertainment.
Yeah, I have come around to a different way of thinking, which
I don't think
appreciating.
that for everything, but I
Yeah.
mean, there's a part of me that thinks that. I'll say that, not categorically across the boards.
I understand.
Yeah.
I being exposed to the real people who really like the show, like when we did Comic-Con,
Sure.
or stuff like that, really makes me feel more aware of the real audience and not just this idea of theoretically, it's on TV.
Right.
When you
right.
actually meet somebody for whom the show means something,
Right.
I find myself being. It makes me really realize that that's the final piece that we can never provide. That somebody always has to
Right.
watch the show and like it,
Right.
or not like it, and then finally the job is done.
Sure.
And until then, it's like that there's a missing piece.
But it's still, having said all that, it should have been destroyed. Do you not agree with that?
I agree that yes, about
good.
so many things. Yeah.
But anything
we
when
are
you
just
complete
filling up the world with our talking and
I know, but at
thinkings.
least it's stupid.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, honestly,
And brightly colored.
it is brightly colored. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can turn off these commentary tracks whenever you want to. That's the best part.
Yeah.
You're not forced. We're not forcing anyone to listen to this.
I guess you're right.
It's all by your own will. Again, like anything else, I mean, I think home movies, the entire process, including what we're doing right now, which is long-winded and whatever. I simply don't care. I mean, you can hate me for this. It's fine. I think I'd rather have people hate me for being long-winded and not really saying too much on a commentary. But the whole thing about home movies is that home movies is simply for people that like a show like this. You know?
Yeah.
And it's not for anyone that doesn't like a show that's anything like this.
I would say
I don't
that is
think
true.
this was ever forced on anybody.
No.
Other than it was on TV and you had the opportunity
That's right.
to change the channel, but you were too lazy to do it.
Yeah. It's
Then
true.
that's your fault.
Yeah.
Same
Right.
with these DVDs. Buy them or don't.
Right.
Buy them if you like it, and if don't, steal one and throw it away. Get it out of the world.
Right. Not that gets it out of the world.
Yeah.
Too late. Once it's been created.
Yeah.
That's landfill, baby.
You stupid.
Nice
Yeah.
lighting. It's a dummy, everyone. It's a ventriloquism dummy.
Is this the blow of the episode, as they call it?
Yes, the twist. Twist ending.
You people are crazy.
If you guys haven't figured out yet, there's a slight reference to
Rear window.
Hitchcock.
Oh, perhaps.
Yeah.
The
There's a
rear window with a twist, we call it.
yes.
That's what Bill Broadus was going to call this episode. Rear window with a twist at the end.
Except for that it's pretty much Rear Window.
Yeah. Well, except for the whoa, dummy.
I mean, it's like an animated
Yeah.
Rear Window.
This is I remember either laughing very hard at the table read or at the session.
The voice that he did for the puppet was one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Yeah. But I'm not sure it translates to the scene.
Hold on. Let's see.
Please, he's just a young boy. Don't yell.
Right.
What? You're a dummy. I'm not a dummy. You're a dummy. This guy's a real ass.
It's not me. It's Shim Sham.
Oh, that's
The name Shim Sham was also one of the funniest things
Yes,
I've ever heard.
that is
And that's Bill Broadus.
Yeah,
Shim
that is true.
Sham.
Yeah. I have to say I love ventriloquism. I love the idea of ventriloquism in animation because it's like it's like ventriloquism times 2. You know what I mean? Not only
Right.
is he moving the thing, and you have to draw
And you have
his
to draw
mouth
him
sort
doing a
of,
bad job, yeah.
But then he's not even really talking.
Right.
I have conceived of an entire show about ventriloquists.
Well, don't say it because they'll steal it. They can't say bad words either.